Good day, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of AWS Cloud Computing Bootcamp. I received some of your questions, and I hope the answers you were given assisted you in completing the task or solve the problem you had. Okay, today we're going to take a continuation where we left off yesterday. Recall, yesterday we achieved or we created our load balancer, and today we're going to add a domain name to our load balancer. So whenever you want to call our load balancer, instead of using the IP address, in place of the IP address, we're going to use a domain name using the AWS Route 53 service. Let's dive right into it. Okay, so right here, I have my instance running and I have my web server on it. My web server hosted on my EC2. At the moment, I'm I am accessing my website with this IP address. I don't want that. What I want is I want to use a domain name. I'll quickly go to my console management homepage. I'll simply go to console management homepage and so this is a familiar web homepage of our AWS console management. What I'll do here is simple. I will quickly search for the service I want to use. I want to use Route 53, right? So I'm quickly going to search for that. All right, this is my Route 53. And yesterday I explained DNS to mean domain name system, domain naming system, domain name system. This simply means translating human readable text to the IP addresses of servers. In place of accessing our web server with this IP address, we are going to use a domain name. Let's dive into it. Right here, I have my dashboard. This is what I have already, hosted zones. So I'm going to create hosted zones here. And this hosted zone will be what will match or map my IP address to my domain name. So right here, I'm going to create a hosted zone. It's going to ask for the domain name, right? Yesterday, I showed us how to buy domain names or how to get domain names from using AWS. I'll quickly go through that again. Right here, I have my dashboard, and if I scroll down to this place, I have my registered domains. I want to register a domain, and now your domain name can be your business name, right? If you have a business, you can use your business name to register. Say we have right here, I have Flavor Fusion. Say we have someone on this call whose name is Favor. I'll say Favor Fashion, favorfashionstore.com. Favor wants to make herself visible online and she needs a domain name to stand out for her business. So right here, I have Favor Fashion Store. I'll click on select, and as you can see, I'm going to pay 15 USD. And right, so this 15 USD, the duration is for 1 year. Do I want auto renew? That means when the domain expires by next year this time, do I want AWS to automatically renew my domain or I want to do it manually? You decide. So right here, I'll click on next. Now I'm going to put some contact information, my person, my name, you have to choose your contact, so you have to fill in your contacts here, your details. Reason is, so should anyone want to see your contact or who owns this domain, they can easily reach out to you for any particular reason. So it's important you put your real information here. And next. Okay, so this is it. This is a summary of everything. I have read it, and if I click on this button, AWS will bill me $15 and the domain will be mine. But I'm not going to use this because I have a domain on a particular, I have a domain I'm using already. So I will simply use that domain to illustrate, right? I have a domain. I'll simply use that domain to illustrate. Now, I would like for us to, I would love for us to drop in our comment section below how you've, like, what progress has this bootcamp made, or what impact has it made, what level has it added to your understanding of cloud computing, and also are you enjoying it? I would love to have these reactions in the comment section. Also, you can do well to drop your city, your state, wherever you're watching from. Let's get to see that. Rep your city, rep your state. All that can be done in the comment section. So now we are going to go over to our domain name. I'll quickly show us that. Remember, we want to attach a domain name to our server. So instead of you using the IP address of the server to access the website, we can now use our domain name. So right here, I have a domain name. This is my domain. I have this domain. I have bought using hosting guy. I have a domain name. This is the name, Tony's shop. Reason why I use .shop is because it is is lesser, about $1 or so. So I had to use it for this particular illustration. So tonyshop.com, right? Now, when you go to the domain configuration, you're going to see this DNS and name servers, right? You're going to see this DNS and name servers. So what I simply want to do now is I want to copy this domain name. I want to copy this domain name called Tony Shop. Um, so I'll simply copy it. Domain name called Tony Shop. I'll copy that. The domain name called Tony Shop, and I'll head over to my instance, right? I'll head over to my instance to attach that domain name to the instance or to the web server that we have created, right? I'm going to do that quickly. All right. So right here, I have my hosted zone. I'll quickly move out from these registered domains because I have a domain already. Leave. I'll head over back to hosted zones. I just showed us this. Should you prefer to buy your domain from AWS? I'll head over to hosted zones. I'm going to create a hosted zone. Now I need to insert the domain name. So you need to have your domain already. You can put a description. This hosted zone is for Tony's shop. Just something like that. Now I need to make it public because I want everyone to have access to it. And I can leave the tags empty. I'm going to create my hosted zones. I have these hosted zones I now want to configure, right? Or more like I want to create a record, right? I want to create a record. This is the record. What record do I want to create? By default, I have existing records already. So let's quickly go into that. So this is the record I have here. This type is for NS, which is for the name servers, and these are my name servers, right? We'll come into this. I'm going to create a record. What kind of record do I want to create? right here we have various kinds of records, right? We have a record, a record, C name record, mx record, lot of record that performs different operations, different functions. The record we need is the a name record. Now, what is the function of this record? This record is responsible for routing traffic to an IPv4 address and some AWS resources. This number here is what we call an IPv4 address. This is an IP address, not a number actually. This kind of IP address is what we call an IPv4 address. I need this a name record. Now, what is the value of the instance or the AWS resource you want to attach to this hosted zone? I'm going to attach this, the IP address of the instance, and I'm going to paste that. Please do it without the HTTP and the slash forward slashes beside it. TTL here means time to leave. I'm going to leave it for 300. TTL 300, leave it at that. What type of routing do I need? Well, it's what we call simple routing. It's what we call weighted routing. It's what we call geolocation. It's what we call latency. What we call failover. I will explain them. Simple routing means it's simply going to route to the particular server or resource. Weighted means depending, say I have two servers, right? And one becomes weighted, one becomes loaded. Route this person to the server handling lesser requests. Geolocation is depending on the region or location of this user, lets him use this server. There are at times you will want to watch a video on Twitter and you will see something like this video is not available for your region. If you have experienced that before, right? That's because the video is not available for people in a particular location. It's only available for people in another location. Then we have failover. Should this failover is more like a backup generator. You know, when the main generator is down, the backup kicks up. So that's for failover. Then we have geo proximity, meaning the user closest to a server. Then we have IP base, we have multi-value answer. I'm simply going to use simple routing, and that's that. I'll create my record. Now my record has been created. I need this record, this NS record, very, very, very important. I'm going to copy the name servers one after the other. I'm going to copy it and I'll move over to my domain here. And this is the DNS. I want to change name servers. So you have to come and change the name servers. So I'm going to remove the existing name server and insert AWS's name server. Notice I copied this with a full stop. So I'll remove the full stop. I'll head over to here, copy the second one. Now I can copy it without the full stop or without the period, and I'll paste. I'll do likewise till I copy 4 of them. Copy this, and there's the last one. Yep, just for confirmation, ns1593.aws, ns1. Okay, that's it. So I'll save. Now what I have done is this. I have simply linked Tony's shop, the domain Tony's shop, to my instance. So whenever I open Tony's shop at the moment, as you can see, I'm going to have my, what is it called? My web server showing up. So it's going to take a while to propagate. As you can see, my website is not still secured. So I'm going to double click on this. I want to get the HTTPS, or I can just do HTTP Tony's shop. HTTP Tony's shop. Now, if I enter this, check this, Tony's shop. Okay, I'll come back here and okay, close. It's still propagating. I'll just copy this again for certainty. Copy this and I'll remove this. I'll paste. Tony shop. Enter this. Can be reached. Okay. HTTP. Okay, it's still taking time to propagate, but let's give it some time. Okay, it's loading. Okay. So what I'm expecting is something like this on this page. So I'm going to give it a little while for it to propagate fully. This normally takes some time just for confirmation that my DNS changed successfully. ns117.aws DNS 11. Let me just confirm that. ns117, ns123, ns908, 1593. 117 123 1593 908. Yes, they all changed. Okay. So route 53 propagates your changes within 60 seconds. Let me view the status so I can see in sync. All right. It's telling me that it's in sync. Let me refresh. I'll come over to this guy and refresh again. Okay. I'm going to open my private browser to check this. Let me confirm if my cache is disturbing it. I'll open my private browser. Okay, not secure. I want to continue. Now I'm going to remove the S from here and enter. Remove the S. I don't need the S. Why is it adding the S for me? That's the issue. It's adding the S for me. Um, my private browser too is having the same thing. Now there's no issue. It's just taking its time to propagate. Now while it's doing that, let's quickly learn how we can add SSL. Now there's this stuff called SSL, which means secured shell layer. Let me explain what SSL means. SSL kind of protects your connection to any particular server. Now, if I go over to my AWS terminal right here, if I click on this, as you can see, I have what here? Connection is secure. Now we can make this particular instance or this web server to be secure. How do we do that? We use what we call SATbot. So there's this tool called SATbot. SATbot can be used to add a secure shell connection to our web server, right? This guy has taken an amount of time. Okay. Sony's dot shop. Confirm this again. So confirm that my EC2 is working properly. Okay, it's active. Let me confirm that the hosted zones is the details I gave there are actually correct. So let me just confirm immediately. All right. Let's do the same thing. The propagation is taking a while. Okay, Tony's shop. Open this. And I have the IP address 9893. Yes. Okay, everything looks good. They all look good. I'll attempt this guy again, the same thing. I'll head over to the private browser. Now for the private browser, it's simply not letting me to access the site using a connection that is not secured. So that's what is simply happening here. It's not letting me use the site if it's not secured. Connection is not secure. All right. So as you can see, it's letting me know that this site is not secured. I should not put any sensitive, I should not enter any sensitive data, right? So this is how we can attach our domain, a domain name to instance. At the moment, it's taking its time to propagate. We'll come back to that. Now, that is for Route 53, right? That's for Route 53. Now, we're going to look at a service in AWS that is one of the, say, one of the used, or let me say, one of the most silent services, but it actually performs a big role when it comes to AWS, right? I'll head over back to my EC2, and the service I want to talk about is this service. So this, yesterday we treated load balancing. Like I mentioned, we could have used the default load balancing on AWS, but I decided to make us see how to do it from top to bottom. So the service I'm talking about is none other than Elastic Block Store. Now the Elastic Block Store is simply the hard disk of your server. Is where you store block files, right? So I'm going to give an instance. I'm going to launch an instance. Yeah, I'll launch an instance. This time around, I'm going to use Windows and not Ubuntu. I'm going to use Windows. I'll use a Windows machine. I'll select my key pair. I'm going to use the key pair we have been using, which is bootcamp. Bootcamp key, yes, that's the key I'm looking for. My network settings. Now, notice we have something new here. We have not been saying RODP. This RODP is peculiar to Windows machine only, and it means remote desktop protocol. It allows you to remotely connect to any particular system. That's what RODP means. I'm going to select the HTTPS and the HTTP. Now, this is the volume. This is the storage of our instance. If I decide to add a new volume here, that means I'm creating a new EBS known as Elastic Block Storage. I'll quickly just create this and I'll launch my instance. I didn't give it a name, right? I'll call this Windows Server. I'll launch my instance. All right, my instance is up. I want to connect to my instance, right? I'm going to use the connect to instance. We have various methods to connect to our Windows machine, our Windows instance. I'm going to use what we call the RODP client. That means I want to have a visual. I want to have GUI, which means graphical user interface. You're going to see what that looks like. For me to do that, I need to download my RODP file. I'll download this and it's going to be downloaded. I need to get my password. Very, very important. I need to get my password. Recall, okay, it's asking me to wait for at least 4 minutes because my instance just got launched. If you recall, I mentioned that key pairs are like passwords used to connect to your instance. So me trying to get my password here is simply me trying to decrypt my key pair. I'll quickly refresh this to hasten up the process. I'm going to connect. RDP client. I'll get the password. Still not available. I have to wait for about 4 minutes. So we'll quickly give it some time for it to take effect. So quickly give it some time, waiting for about 3 to 4 minutes. Once it's done, we'll get right back into it. We'll get right back into it, right? Giving it some time. As you can see, stay initializing. That's the reason why we can get our password. I'll quickly select my instance, Windows Server, and I'll connect. I'm going to try using the RDP. I want to get password, and I have my password. So it's letting me know this is the key pair associated with this instance. If you recall, I mentioned that whenever you create a key pair, it's going to be downloaded. As you can see, when I created this key pair, I think on the first day of this bootcamp, it got downloaded to my system, and I'm going to select it. Always upload the key pair you downloaded. The key pair name it shows you here, that will be the key pair name you download, or the key pair file you download. I'm going to decrypt the password and I'll get it. This is the password. I'll copy this. I have my RDP. Yeah. I'll open this RDP and we're going to see something. I'm going to connect. So it's asking me for my credentials. I'll quickly do that. But before I do that, I want us to see something. What region am I in? I'm in United States, right? Okay. I will give us the reason why I asked for that. So right here, I'm going to paste the password I copied when I decrypted my key pair. I'm going to, okay. At the moment, I'm trying to connect to AWS Windows instance. You're going to see what will come up. This right here is an independent system, an independent computer that is being hosted using AWS, or that AWS is issuing, giving to me at this point. This system is independent from my host machine. and I can perform literally any activity I do perform on my host machine. I can perform it here. Say actions like to watch a video, to create a file, to browse, to surf the internet, to even load my Twitter account here. I can do all of this. Now, let me give an illustration where this can come in handy. If you recall, last 3 years, last 4 years, there was a time the previous administration banned a particular social media network, which was Twitter. If you remember, then you could not access Twitter with your internet provider like MTN, Glo, Airtel, and the rest of them. What people were doing was people were now opting to use VPN. So with VPN, you can bypass this. Say you have, say that kind of thing happens again, you don't have to worry about VPN. You can simply use your AWS instance, spin off a server, and choose a region like US or Europe, and this particular system, it will assume or it will see you that you are browsing from the US, right? So in that particular scenario, people that were using VPN, some even had to pay for it. I mean, you could always use your AWS Windows instance for such scenarios, right? So I'm going to show us that I'm going to try to browse. I'm going to start without my data. I don't want to put in any of my data because I'm going to terminate this instance as soon as we close this. So I'm going to confirm and start browsing. Right here, I have my browser. L- Let me browse for, okay, let me check up something. I'm going to show us this. Now, let me head over to my host machine. This is my main system. I want to check something. Look at this. I'm going to check for Netflix. I'm going to attempt opening Netflix on my browser. As you can see here, I typed in Netflix, but I'm getting Netflix slash NG. As you all know, Nigeria. Now look at the movies that Netflix recommends for me. I'll move over to my instance on the internet, and I'm still going to check for the same thing, Netflix, and we're going to see what we are going to get. Netflix. Netflix. Now, as you can see, it's still the same Netflix account, but the movie recommendations are different. Okay, although this Stranger Things and His or Hers are recommended for Nigeria, but as you can see, the first 10 for the US is different for the first 10 for people in Nigeria. Likewise, people in other regions. At the moment, it's this system is browsing from North Virginia, US to be precise, and with this, I could bypass the ban on Twitter that the past administration made, right? So this is how we can use the AWS Windows instance, and that's it. You can perform literally any operation here. So let me quickly look at the system properties. Let me quickly look at the system properties. Okay, so I want to check my system specification. Okay, as you can see, something similar to your Windows machine. If you are using a Windows, I want to check for this PC. And as you can see, this is my hard disk. It gave me 30 gig, but I have used 8.13 because by default, Windows operating system is large. It takes up to 4 gig, give or take. So that this right here is my EBS. This is my hard disk. And as you can see, we can perform literally any operation that I want to perform right here. Could even browse the internet to save an image, to perform any activity you want to perform. So if you're using a paid VPN service, I mean, you could always save cost, save money, and port to using the AWS Windows instance. All right, that wraps it up for today. And I'll take your questions. If you have any, do well to drop them in the comment section. If you have any, you can do well to drop them in the comment section. Now, we are going to drop your project, your tasks to the classroom. I'm sure you've received this link, or the link has been sent to you to your groups. So if you're going to perform those tasks, and let me say this, you can always reach out to your AI assistant tool to gain assistance in performing or in carrying out this project. The use for this project, or what this project will be used for, is that will be a metric for you to be issued your certificate. So I implore you to please do well to carry out this project. Now, after completion, do well to submit in the classroom, that the link will be sent to this to the comment section and to your groups, right? And the question will be dropped by today. So you have from today till Thursday to complete the project. These questions will not be anything out of the scope of what we have covered for this past 4 days. You will, though some things will be added extra to make you do research. And like I've said, you can easily easily use your AI assistant tool to always you can easily use your AI assistant tool to always reach out, to always gain clarity to the question and get answers, right? You can use your ChatGPT, you can use your Gemini, your Copilot, whatever one you are used to, or whichever one you are used to, you can always use that, right? So I'm seeing Precious from Port Harcourt, Texit Mike from from Ekiti. Please, I will appreciate more shout out, rep your city, rep your state. Okay, that's this is where we'll draw the curtain for today. Again, I need to emphasize, I can't lay emphasis on this completely. Your project will be sent to the classroom. The link has been dropped on the comment section. The questions will be dropped. Do well to carry out this project. It's nothing out of what we've covered during these past 4 days. And it's important you do this so that you will be issued your certificate. With that, we'll draw the curtain for day 4, and I'll see you tomorrow.